G'day doggos. Sometimes owning a pack of bulldogs is not all sunshine and daisies. Sometimes it's vet visits and slow reintroductions through fly screen doors. We've had a not so wonderful few weeks, so strap in, there's a bit of a story. Today we're going to talk about bad days. Days when you're not in control and your dog's behaviour is a bit of a mystery really. On the 8th of January, so about 3 weeks ago, we had, let's call it an incident, involving Freja and Romulus. Dad and I had popped out for a few minutes to do the shopping. We left the dogs happily in the lounge while Jim did the dishes. After a few minutes he heard a puppy running, a slide, an impact, and then, well, a screaming puppy. Long story short, Romulus had Freja by the scruff of her left shoulder and was not letting go. Jim managed to separate them, God knows how, and we arrived home minutes later. Everything was calm again, but Freja had some wounds, so off to the vet we went. Naturally, the vet shaved the area, checked Freja out, no real problems, just 4 skin-deep puncture wounds. She prescribed some antibiotics due to the inherent danger of infection from dog bites, some anti-inflammatory pain relief, and $203 later, we're home again. So we've had a few thoughts about the incident, but before we discuss that, there was another incident on the 12th of January involving Gaia and Romulus. And this one was far more complex. Not only was Romulus angry with Gaia, Gaia was angry with Romulus.
Yay.
Gaia had just been bathed and was looking for someone to blame. So she bit Romulus hard on the brow, leaving tiny puppy bite marks. Romulus snapped back, getting her scruff. Blue told him to drop her and go inside, and he dropped her and started heading inside. Then Gaia came out of nowhere and attacked him again. So this time he got her scruff. Well, he wasn't letting go. There was a kink in the hose, and so the water wouldn't come out, and I don't know exactly how we got them separated, but we did. Gaia now also had skin-deep puncture wounds, but we had no further emergency vet funds, so we cleaned and disinfected the wound, gave her some pain relief, and hoped it would not need further treatment. Where Freja had 4 punctures, Gaia only had 1 or 2. Unfortunately, that hope was dashed the next morning once the wound had become an abscess. And back to the vet we went. The site was drained and cleaned, and she was put on antibiotics. Back home we went, down $356 to be paid next payday. Now, some context on this next part. Dad has either long COVID or post-COVID syndrome, and I got bit during one of the altercations, got an infected finger, had some minor surgery, so we're both rather frazzled at this point. Now, on the 15th, I went through the house to get a new dressing for my finger. I didn't realise that there was an unsupervised dog bowl in the kitchen, or that Romulus and Freja had followed me. This one was obviously over food. It was also different because while Romulus did pin Freja down, he vocalised and certainly looked like he used his teeth, there are no new punctures on her. During this though, Gaia came over to defend her sister and also got pinned and terrified. That pinning also resulted in added pressure on the abscess. We decided to just go ahead and get that surgically fixed, so Gaia was wearing a cone of shame and had a post-op check last week, Monday, but in about 2 weeks we had spent upwards of $1,100 on vet visits. To sum up, Romulus had bit both of his sisters, and Dad and I were trying to figure out how to make sure this never happened again. So at this point we have to talk about the incidents themselves. What the bloody hell happened? Is Romulus, our giant teddy bear, really a bully or a brute? What caused the incidents? Why did he bite? Why did he ignore us? Why did Gaia charge him? And what the Ford do we do? That's way too many questions. Let's start with what we know. Alright, so a bit of backstory on Romulus. He's almost 5, and my dog. My first dog. He's a hybrid of the Scott and Johnson American Bulldog lines. The breeder was inexperienced, and once she'd received payment for her dogs, she was unresponsive to questions or requests from advice. Romulus was my first dog, and I put a huge amount of time into his training, and that's resulted in a healthy, happy dog who is seen as placid and unusually gentle for a bully-type dog. He doesn't respond to aggressive dogs on the street. He easily ignores shoestring dogs that are always hostile and untrained. So why did he bite his sisters? Clearly, this was something we would need help to figure out. We were so lost at this point and couldn't see a way forward. So we've enlisted the help of our local dog trainer, Sean. He did a 2-hour session with us last Wednesday and will be bi-weekly now. He was again here this week on Wednesday and we had a brilliant session. He also confirmed our thoughts on the incidents, and so have the vets for that matter. We saw 3 of them. Romulus was not trying to hurt his sisters. It's just that dogs aren't human. They communicate differently. Romulus was just loudly giving his sisters a lesson they would remember. Stop biting me. Stop stealing my food. I'm bigger than you. Every instance was Romulus enforcing boundaries. Boundaries that we should have already been enforcing as well. So there are some new house rules. First and foremost, no biting. This includes each other, us, and our toys. Biting is restricted to their toys only. The pups are picking up Rule 1 very nicely, but it's going to take a while. Rule number 2. Pups and Romulus are to be always supervised when they're hanging out. For a while, Romulus was wearing a muzzle, and for longer, he was on a lead. The last 2 days, though, they've been hanging out without the need for a lead, and they've been doing very, very well. Rule 3. Gaia and Freja are no longer allowed to annoy their brother, and we are no longer allowed to let it slide. The girls get time out for unacceptable biting and interaction. Hopefully, when the girls are vaccinated and we can go for walks and adventures together, this reintroduction will get streamlined. For now, though, it's a slow process to make sure all our bulldogs feel safe, reassured, and secured in their place within the pack and our home. We've got time, commitment, love, and help. So we will get there. Romulus loves the pups, and the pups adore him. We found an excellent trainer the dogs all like, and he will work on an ongoing basis with us to make sure we get this right. Our bulldogs seem to have already found some sort of equilibrium. They've figured out that, no, the humans expect us to play with toys now, so when Romulus goes outside, he brings a toy with him, unless he doesn't want to interact, in which case he just moves quite quickly inside. And the girls are coming to understand that sometimes their big brother needs some space. We're getting there, and we will get there. Our bulldogs will be great friends. But it's been a upsetting couple of weeks. This video was hard to put out there, but it needed doing. We're hoping to run a YouTube channel that is honest, and sometimes you just have bad weeks. But anyway, there's the update. Bye, you mob.